Into the fatal shooting of Rex Kanyike Masai took a dramatic turn on Tuesday as the court closely examined the arms movement register, a crucial document that now places several officers under scrutiny. Investigators are zeroing in on identifying the firearm used in the June 20 shooting and the officer who fired the fatal shot. 3 police officers attached to Central Police Station took the stand at the Milimani Law Courts, where they struggled to explain discrepancies in firearms they were issued during last month's protest, particularly on the day Masai was shot dead in Nairobi's Central Business District. One of the officers, Martin Githinji, came under pressure to explain why he signed out the same firearm twice and why his service number appeared to have been altered. And here are the full details to the story.
Kanyike Masai?
Are you able to tell which name was deleted?
I can tell because I was there.
Because you were there?
Yes.
So you know that which name?
Martin Githinji.
It was Martin Githinji?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Now, you said that you had signed on the previous page. Yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Had you signed?
Yeah, my signature is there, Your Honor.
Your signature is there?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you signed for it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is very okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why were you signing again the next page?
It was a mistake.
And what is the first number there?
220997.
Very clear.
Very clear.
Very clear.
Yes, Your Honor.
How about the other one?
It is also 220997.
But they are
very clear, Your Honor.
They are also very clear.
Yeah.
This is
on the screen, I can't tell, but yes.
Perhaps maybe the screen is dirty.
My eyesight.
Oh, it's your eyesight.
Yes, Your Honor.
On whom will liability rest? Is it on Simon Oweru, or is it on the person who signed against the fire?
The responsibility will rest on the person whom the in-charge armory had issued this fire.
And how does one determine that?
The in-charge armory will explain.
You say you were issued with only a tear gas launcher.
Yes, sir.
And these rubber bullets may have been issued to someone else and not yourself.
I cannot be able to explain that.
But you signed against it?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for someone just to come and collect and leave without knowing what they are signing against?
Your Honor, there are terms and conditions for a person to be made an armorer, and I'm not an armorer.
And away from that story, now to shock after autopsy reveals Susan Njoki was strangled to death at Chiromo Hospital. And the nation is in shock after revelations that Susan Njoki, a nurse and founder of the Total Touch organization, was strangled to death at Chiromo Hospital Group, a Breeside branch. An autopsy conducted by 6 pathologists confirmed that Njoki was killed approximately 4 hours after her last meal on Tuesday, a day after she was admitted to the facility without her consent. The late Njoki, who had a history of mental health treatment, had alleged on social media that her husband, Alois Ngure, sent for doctors to inject her and take her to a mental facility against her will. On Tuesday, her family gathered at Montezuma, Mona Lisa, for the post-mortem examination conducted by 6 doctors representing the family, the government, and the Chiromo Hospital Group. Detectives from Kabete Police Station who are investigating the case were also at the morgue. The autopsy lasted over 4 hours, and when the doctors emerged with the findings, the results were nothing short of shocking. Here are the full details to the story.
Susan was died because of what we call manual strangulation. Manual strangulation basically means that, if I put it in a normal language, ni kunyongwa kwa shingo.
There were features of compression to the neck, and those features are in keeping with manual strangulation. There are also features of lack of oxygen in the blood, as a result of neck compression.
As family, we may also decide to do toxicology and other investigations that may help us really know what happened. But what there is that we are almost satisfied, because the intention of correcting her, forcing her to go to hospital against her will, was there. The instruction was given by the husband.
As Kamengere's family, tunaweza shukuru sana tukapata justice kutoka kwa serikali, mtusaidie sababu tumelose our loving sister.
We cannot lose our sister that way and also lose the right to bury her. So we will discuss as family and we'll know how to do it.
And away from that story, now to another story as terror charges on protesters justified. DPP says amid uproar, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has moved to clarify its decision to charge several individuals under the Prevention of Terrorism Act amid growing public concern over the legality and implications of the move. In a press statement, DPP Ranson Igonga addressed the widespread debate sparked by its legal action against suspects linked to violent incidents during the demonstrations held on June 25th and July 7th, 2025. Mr. Igonga maintained that the charges were grounded in law and not politically motivated. Here are the full details to the story.
People engaging in peaceful protests does not amount to terrorism. It's excluded from the Potter Act unless they can show those intent. And now it's the use of the Potter Act to ensure that these persons who engage in protest are frustrated into the criminal justice system.
If you finance some people to carry machetes, crude weapons, petrol bombs, to destroy people's property and government installations, what is that called? It's called terrorism.
The extent of this damage is not just an act of criminal elements, but an act of terrorism.
Even the DPP yesterday in his statement says that they took cue from the statements that were made by the Chief Justice.
And away from that story, now to Kenya Kwanza empowerment sparks anger as beneficiaries claim they were paid 64 Kenyan shillings. And empowerment, once a word filled with hope, has become a political slogan repeated at rallies and public forums across the country. With the 2027 elections drawing closer, government-allied politicians are traversing counties, handing out money and promising prosperity. But beyond the cheers and camera flashes lies a grim reality. Many who show up for these events are left disillusioned, some walking away with as little as 64 Kenyan shillings. The talk of bottom-up economics is loud on the podiums, but on the ground, it feels more like trickle-down disappointment, where many Kenyans say the so-called empowerment events promise financial uplift but end in heartbreak. These gatherings often pull huge crowds. At one such event, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki announced the president has sent him with 3 million Kenyan shillings, but after the funfair, beneficiaries say the money simply vanishes. In Nyamira, a widow said, "I was given 2,000 Kenyan shillings. Now tell me, with a group of 31 widows and widowers, what are we supposed to do with that? People will come to me expecting answers. What will I tell them?" Here are the full details to the story.
Rais amenituma na shilingi milioni 3.
Kwenda huku nikapewa 2,000. 2,000 ndio hii, sijui nipatie nani? Sijui nipatie nani, niache nani, na kikundi ni watu 31. Widows and the widowers. Sasa sijui nifanye nini. Watafikia nimechukua pesa yao, watakuja kwangu, sijui siseme, nitawaambia nini. Nasanga. Aki Bwana Ruto, nilikuwekea kura. Si ungetuwekea hata cheki bana badala ya kuleta kashi. Hii kashi hata niliona pesa kwa kikapu imejaa.
Watu 18 tulipokea 20,000. Tulipewa kama transport. Sasa tunaona kama asiwezi kutusaidia. Maana tulipotumia kama transport hiyo hatungeweza kuchiniwa naye.
Hawa mama wangu wote ni wakongwe sana, nilikuja nao jana hapa. Mvua ilitunyeshea Bwana Kindiki, hata I'm very sure uliniona nikidansi huko na Riverera. Tulidansi hapo. Sasa kazi yangu nilikuja kudansi, nikaacha watoto wangu huko. Nimelala kwa mtaro. Kazi yangu ni kudansi.
Sisi tulienda huko Mumbone, hatu kupewa huko Scott Theological University, hatu kupewa chochote. Hizo pesa tulishangaa, kwani hao waheshimiwa wanachagua wale wanapea pesa. Kuna people living with disability hawasaidiki.
Tunajiuliza tumepangwa wapi na hii serikali ya Kenya, sababu tushashikana na tukakuwa kwa vikundi na hatukuona chochote kinakuja kwetu.
Away from the cries of the citizens, and now to Kabogo denies Ruto is targeting Mount Kenya civil servants, blames Gachagua for divisive politics. And Information and Technology Cabinet Secretary William Kabogo on Tuesday vehemently defended the decision to remove ICT Authority CEO Stanley Kamanguya from office, stating that the move had nothing to do with ethnic profiling or political targeting by President William Ruto's administration, as alleged by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, Kabogo dismissed claims that President William Ruto's administration is targeting civil servants from the Mount Kenya region, calling the allegations misleading and divisive. Here is the CS speaking.
It is not the duty of the president to hire or fire CEOs. That is my job as the CS. Even those board members that were changed for one reason or the other, they were done by myself. That we do not have instructions from the president to hire or fire anyone. I take full responsibility of actions that have been taken in this ministry as long as I'm CS. It's important to tell the country to be wary of people who just want to sow seeds of discord, to just badmouth the president.
The big con is the headlining story in the Standard. Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat lied to the country about his stepping aside to pave the way for investigations into the death of Albert Ojwang at Central Police Station. In a June 16 statement, Lagat announced he had opted to step aside to allow investigations to proceed unhindered, but fresh court filings reveal a different story, that he merely applied for a break. In a sworn reply, Lagat now insists he never vacated office nor appointed a replacement, contradicting his own public statement. The open lie has reignited questions about his integrity, transparency, and truthfulness as a civil servant. That is a story that you'll find on page 4 of the Standard this morning. Now, following your application for annual leave, I am writing to confirm the approval and granted 18 days leave for the financial year 2024-2025, effective from June 17, 2025. During your absence, your duties will be performed by your principal assistant. We wish you a restful leave. Douglas Kanja, Inspector General, wrote in response to the request by the DIG. Eliud Lagat. Well, that is your Standard this morning. Away from the Standard, now to the Daily Nation. UDA bigwigs plot exodus. Already under siege from a rebel faction allied to ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the woes of the governing United Democratic Alliance are set to worsen, with top former loyalists, including the Senate Majority Whip, joining the rebellion. The man tasked with whipping members to toe the line has declared the party dead. That is a story that you'll find on pages 7 of the Daily Nation. Who are some of the big wigs, including Boni Halwale, Senate Majority Whip, Gloria Oroba, ousted senator. There is Mohammed Ali Nyali, Member of Parliament. There is Ndindi Nyoro Kiharu, Member of Parliament. Joyce Kihara, Naivasha, Member of Parliament. And Joash Nyamoko, North Migerango, Member of Parliament. And away from that, free at last, on death row in Saudi Arabia for over a decade, dreading a death with the executioner every day. The nightmare for Stefan Munyakho finally ended yesterday when he was freed after dramatic negotiations with the family of a Yemeni citizen whose death following a feud led to his conviction. It took 150 million Kenyan shillings, blood money, for his life to be spared. And the number of years Stephen was imprisoned in Saudi Arabia is 14. And from that, 25,000 promoted teachers lament over elusive new higher salaries. That is on page 8 of the Daily Nation. And state slaps more protest suspects with the terrorism charges. That is on page 4 of the Daily Nation this morning. That sums up the dailies. When we come back from the break, we're coming back with a bit of sport, weather, and your morning quote. Keep it science.